Welcome back. Today we're going to be learning about creating tables in Microsoft Excel 2010. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to open up our walk and rock music activity that we created last time. So go ahead and take a second to open that up and you can pause the video. Now that you've got it open, go ahead and I want you to click on cell A3 and I want you to drag and highlight all the way to F8. And once you have those selected, we're going to go to the Insert ribbon and we're going to be under the Charts group. Now, notice all the different charts that Excel has for you. So the first thing you can see is we have 2D column charts, 3D column charts, cylinders, cones, and pyramids. So all different types here. And you can hover over them and see the names of them to find out what they'll show or what they're going to be comparing. You also have line graphs. We have pie graphs, and of course all of us should know that these are used for percentages. Our pie will make up a 100%. We have bars, and again, all different types of bars, just like charts, but they're horizontal. Area charts, scatter charts, and other charts, so donuts, bubbles, whatever it may be that you might be looking for. But today we are going to be using the column chart, and I want you to select this first option, which is the 3D cluster column. And when you do that, you're going to see that this chart is inserted, and I'm going to zoom out really quickly so we can look at it as a whole. And if you move your mouse on the edge, anywhere on the edge, you should get this four-headed black arrow, and you can click and drag that chart so it's no longer covering your data. And so the next thing we want to do is we want to look at this chart and we want to see, one, how can we edit it to change a few things? And two, what do all these things mean that are on our chart? So the first thing that I want to talk about is just the different properties that come with a chart. So if you look, when you insert that chart, you got this new chart tools that came with 3 different command tabs. And if we click on the Design Command tab, you can see the Design ribbon. And over here, you can change the chart type. You can save the chart as a template. You can switch the columns and rows. You can select data. We'll look at those a little bit later. But then you have chart layouts. And if you click on the drop-down menu, you have all these different layouts that you can choose from. And if you click on the different layouts, you can see how the chart is changing and the different thing that it's adding. And this is a really great chart because it comes with the title, it comes with the legend, and it comes with the X and Y axis. And that layout, I believe, was layout 9. Yes, that's correct, layout 9. And again, there's more layouts in there that you can check out. You also have chart styles, and this button right here is called your More button. It's going to extend that group out for you, so you can look at the different options here, and you can just change the appearance of the chart, changing the colors, changing the look, doing whatever it is that you want to do to it. And then here you can move this chart to another sheet or another tab in the workbook by clicking on this option and then saying, where you want to move it to. So it's the object in sheet 1, and you want to move the object where to what place. So it says choose where you want the chart to be placed. So you could say sheet 2 to move that chart. But we're not going to do that, so we're going to cancel. The next group that you have is the layout group. So if you click on that group on the far right, or excuse me, the layout ribbon. If you look on the far left, you have a current selection group where you can select different objects. You can insert pictures, text boxes, but we really want to look at this section, which is our labels. And so first, if you didn't have a chart title, you could come here and say chart above, or you could choose center overlaid so that it's overlaying on top of the table, but I think it looks a lot better above. And we can double click on this and we could name this walk and rock music, so giving that chart a title. Then you have your axes title, your horizontal and your vertical axes titles. And you can see here again that both of them are selected on our ribbon. For the horizontal, you can see that that one is already selected. It goes below. Now remember that your horizontal axis, we can change a lot of different things on this, so we're going to be coming back to look at it. But you can see here your horizontal axis title, and we can click on that, and then we could type in what we want it to be. So maybe regions, and you can see that it's changing up here in my formula bar, and when I hit enter, now regions appears on that axis. And the other thing that we want to do is we want to change the vertical axis. So we can come here and we can choose if we want it vertical or if we want it horizontal. And so you can see what those different options look like there. We're going to leave it at rotated. And so I'm going to go ahead and start typing, and I'm looking over here on the left, so maybe we're just going to say number. Now, the other thing you have is your legend, and you can see that your legend is being displayed on the right, but again, you can change the legend to move it around to different areas, but we are going to keep it on the right for now. Then you have data labels. If you click show for that, it's going to show you the numbers for each of your columns. I'm going to turn that off though. And then you have the show data table, which is going to actually show the table that has the numbers of the data in it, but we don't really want that either, so we're going to leave that off. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to look at some options on our format ribbon. So if you go to your format ribbon, you're going to see some shape styles, and you can click the drop down arrow, and you can see as I'm hovering over, it's actually changing the shape that's selected, which is my vertical axis. So if I wanted to change the shapes that were on the chart, I would need to select those. Now you can see that I've clicked on the blue column, and so if I click here and I change, you can see that it is changing not only the color of the column, but also the color of the key in the legend. So you can look at all of those different options. You can also change the fill for the column, the blue columns, by clicking on those and then going to shape fill and then choosing the color you want here, and you can see how it's changing. And so right now I'm changing accessories, and you can see that I'm doing that. So I can go through and I can click on all these different ones, and I can change the different colors to make them the color that I want them to be. I'm just going to really quickly go through and change all of these. Let's see, I want to change the flash because we've got two that are purple. So maybe I'll change it to a brown. So now I've got a different color for every one. And again, I've changed the colors so that they look the way that I want them to look. You also have this word art styles, and you can see that once I clicked on my chart title that was now available. And so you can change the way that it looks. You can click the more button and choose some different options here. Again, text fill, you could fill it with a different color. So maybe you want to fill it with blue, and maybe you want the outline to be in orange. Effects, you can add some shadows in there. You can add some glow, whatever it may be that you want to add. So those are just some nice different features that we have here. So the next thing that we want to look at is we want to look at our X and our Y axis. So first we're going to look at your horizontal axis, which is your X axis, and you want to make sure that you know that. Again, your X axis is your horizontal axis, and remember your horizontal axis is going to be like the horizon, so it's going across here. It's like a row. So the first thing that we want to do is we can see that our horizontal axis here, we can right click on those different options, and we can choose format the axis, and we can change this however we want to. And usually we don't change this area with numbers unless there are numbers down here, but know that that option is there for you. The one that we really want to look at is your Y axis, or your vertical axis. Excuse me, I didn't mean for that to pop up. So you want to click on your numbers here, and you can see that took me a while to get that selected. But once you get it selected, you're going to right click and you're going to choose Format Axis. And we can actually change the minimum and the maximum here by clicking on Fix. And so what we're talking about is the minimum number and the maximum number that's going to appear here. So let's go ahead and let's say that our minimum is going to be 200. And we'll leave our maximum at 1,000. And you can see I moved my dialog box over here so you can see the difference, and now you can see it's starting at 200 and it's going up to 1,000. Now if that's not including something, then obviously you would want to fix that because you want everything to show, you want all of your bars to be present, so you could go through and you could fix that. And once you have it, you can say close, and now you can see that it's going up. Now you can also see here that it's not actually going up to 1,000, and that's because our minimum point right here stopped. So this little minimum point here is actually 810, so 1,000 would be a little bit higher up. All right, the next thing that we want to do is we're going to be moving on to being able to move our chart. So one thing that's really great is, again, we did see that on the design ribbon, you can move your chart, and you can move your chart to a certain one using the command. I can also copy this chart. I could delete it. I could come to sheet 2 here at the bottom, and then I can paste the chart on sheet 2. You can also do this in Word. If you opened up a Word document, you could paste that table in there. So maybe you just want to do the Midwest, but you don't want to select all this information in between. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to highlight from A3 down to A8. I'm going to hold the control key on your keyboard, and I'm going to highlight from D3 down to D8. And I'm going to go to Insert, and this time I am going to choose, let's say, a cylinder chart. And so now you can see how that works. It's giving us still all of our items, but in our key over here, we're only including Midwest. So all the information is not actually included in that chart, and you can see that there. Now, the next thing that you might want to do is you might say, okay, well, I've got this chart and I've got this information, and now I want to print it. So we go to File, and then we go to Print. And oh, our chart is selected, and that happens all the time. So you want to make sure that it's not selected. So I come up and I click anywhere on this, any of the random cells, and I go back and I go to Print, and it is showing all the information since I brought my chart over. However, if I moved my chart out like this, you can see here the dotted line represents a page break, letting me know that I'm going on to the second sheet. So if I wanted to fix that to make sure that everything was fitting on one sheet, I would want to go to the Page Layout ribbon. And under the Page Layout ribbon, under the Scale to Fit group, where it says Width, I would choose one page to let it know that I want everything to fit on that one page. And now if I go to File, Print, you can see it's made the text a little bit smaller so I can fit that information in. However, you know, this can fit right underneath, so we really can go back to page layout and we can change that to automatic because we really don't need that at this point. Okay, so that is creating a chart. I will see you next time, and we're going to be creating a stock market project. So see you then.